a Motorsport Podcast Network production. Hey everyone, welcome along. V8 Sleuth Podcast for another week for the National Motor Racing Museum, Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Sounded very 80s Channel 7, Mark Walker, don't you think?
That was sensational, dudes.
I've watched a lot of tapes over the years.
Why are you wearing a red blazer, by the way?
Yeah, actually, no, it's blue because you can't get the red ones anymore. They seem to have disappeared.
Really?
I think they've gone to the gods of cupboards and...
There'd be some punter in an op shop somewhere.
I don't think so. I think they all disappeared because all the old Channel 7 blokes get asked about them so much. But let me finish my live read. National Motor Racing Museum at Mount Panorama is where racing history comes to life. You can visit the museum's Facebook page, which, by the way, zings. They put some good content on there. If you're not following it, get on board. Follow that page for the latest opening times and exhibition information. And if you want to know about what's on during the Repco Bathurst 1000, the official program for the Bathurst 1000 is not far away. We are working on that at the moment. So there'll be some details. There's always something cool that they wheel out for October up there. So looking forward to getting there. It's not far away. We are, all of 2 months out from the great race, which is kind of scary how fast this thing comes around.
It's going to be big, Noons. It's always a highlight of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
It's always great to get there, and I think we should just spend a couple of weeks up there, really, so we can start taking all the sights and sounds of Bathurst.
I feel like we have been there for a couple of weeks. If you combine our trips in the last year or two, we've done quite a few trips. But we've done trips recently too. You and I have been at Winton on the weekend, the Winton Festival of Speed. Record is the word that springs to mind. Their biggest ever crowd, their biggest ever streaming, the biggest and best ever weather probably that they've ever had. It was an absolute boomer.
Shout out too to all the people who came up and said, we loved the podcast last week. And
it was
talking
great.
about the podcast, us talking the podcast up, and it was like, no, this actually is great.
I had a fan come up to me and say, I've never been before, but I came because you guys talked so much about it last week and talked about it so well, and you were right. We didn't just say it for fun. We're not fully on the take. We have had an advertising partnership with the VHRR, but I tell you what, it delivered in all ways, shapes and forms. When I watched the live streaming numbers, they went through the roof compared to last year, and there's still plenty more growth to be had. And it's kind of becoming the Victorian, almost muscle car masters in a way, just with it's a tin top audience. The touring car tributes were a hit. The Laser TX3 12-hour car, that went off its face. Everyone loved it.
Some really cool cars. I sort of sat down, had a bit of a debrief with myself, and these are the negatives from the weekend. It was a bit cold in the morning. Who cares? There was just complete utter nitpicking. It was a cracking good meet. Great fields. It really did step up. I enjoyed that. It was a good weekend away.
I'm looking forward to, let's do it again next year, shall we? Makes sense. This weekend is Queensland Raceway. Ipswich Supercars return to the paperclip for the first time in 6 years. But the thing I wanted to quickly mention before we get into our questions and answers, well done. Can't believe that I have to give them credit for this because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Co-driver starts, the main driver starts rule at the Enduros is gone. Shouldn't have even been a thing.
Correct. No, that's it. That's all you have to say on that
problem
matter.
Solved?
It's problem
Job
solved.
done.
It wasn't a problem,
Press on.
and we've unsolved it. It's great.
Yeah, wasn't a drama. So please stop trying to fix things that don't need fixing. Shall we do questions?
Please.
Hugh Martin is the first one, and he actually sent this in before we prompted for this episode because we always get questions in the gaps in between. He says, now this is interesting, what's the lowest position in the championship a driver has finished who also won a race that year? Same goes for finishing second or third. Must be full-time drivers and not counting reverse grid races.
Oh, good grief.
It's a staggering question.
Wow.
That's probably why it's taken us a little while to go off and figure this out. So,
okay.
Can you, hang on. Can you smell something?
No.
It's smoke coming off Shane Rogers, our Statsman's keyboard. Did you like what I did?
Got me worried.
You dead set thought the office was on fire, didn't
I
you?
brought the toaster down today.
Oh, you did too. That fruit toast did smell very good earlier on. So what if I said to you that the driver who holds this record for winning a race in a season finished 30th in a championship season, but was a full-time driver, didn't win a reverse grid race, Does anyone spring to mind?
Bezzy, Tasmania.
Well played. Correct.
Yes.
That crazy Tasmanian round where the safety car came out, it scrambled everyone, literally, and then the race result was redeclared, a week later. So, yeah, Bernard finished 30th in the championship, won the last race in Tassie late in that season. Remember, he was a full-time driver, but he missed a couple of races on the Gold Coast because he was driving the champ car that weekend, but we consider him absolutely a full-time driver. So could you imagine the win one and you're in thing in Supercar, like NASCAR spec? And in that, wow.
As a class with 24 cars now, you're going to struggle to get 30th place having a win as a solo driver these days.
Yeah, although having said that, in that period, Tassie was like the second last round. So in the modern format, we'd be into the finals by then anyway. But for a second place finish, if you go back through it all, I want to see if you can nail some of these. But let's say, it's too easy to give it away. But it was a 1-2 finish that didn't happen any other time.
More information,
Yellow
please.
cars. Buzzing Hornets.
2013.
Yes.
Moff.
No.
Caruso.
Finished second.
Of course, yeah.
Finished 23rd in the championship. Bernard did it again too, actually, because he had a second at Oran Park in 01 and finished 23rd in the championship. But third, John Faulkner had a third place at Eastern Creek. These are in the days of the round result, though. Finished 29th in the championship in 02 in his JFR Commodore.
Was that a case of being friendly to Walkinshaws and may have got a bit of setup information there?
I think it was. I think that was the Saturday sprint race, and then they had 2 races Sunday. And from memory, I don't think it was even broadcast that Saturday race, or it was highlighted on the Sunday. But yeah, JFR had struggled for a fair while then, and suddenly for the weekend, really rolled out really well. Did good old JF with that. I used to love him wearing that open face helmet. I reckon that was cool. Let's roll on. We've got lots of questions to get through, so we're going to punch through these as fast as we can. Ollie Rees asks, have we seen the last of Warren Luff as an enduro co-driver?
Maybe. It's hard to come back. It's not impossible, but it's Warren Luff. If you were going to pick somebody off the bench, you'd probably pick Warren Luff.
Well, and don't forget, he's handling engine testing for WAU. He's been leased out by them in previous years to Team 18. If there's any drama in the lead up to Bathurst, if a driver leaves a team or there's any poo hits any fans anywhere, you'd be ringing Bruce Stewart and Carl Foe at WAU and saying, can we borrow Luffy for 1 or 2? Like, if a driver got injured, if there was a commercial headache, whatever, who do we need? Who can we grab off the bench that will meet the co-driver regs, who has all the right licenses, who will just do what we need? That's the only one. I can't see him coming back after this year. What a great stint, though.
Oh, exactly. 6 Bathurst 1000 podiums between 2012 and 2020. I mean, ridiculous.
He's in that list of most podiums without a win with Brad Jones and Cam McConville. His Bathurst record in the last 15 years, I mean, it was a bit patchy early on because he wasn't in the best cars. But once he got himself into proper co-driver land, i.e., remember he did Brytech and Lucas Dumbrell's team, Triple Eight signed him. And then Walkinshaw signed him and have never let him go. So his numbers in the last pretty much 15 years or thereabouts are, sublime.
And even then at Triple Eight, it was Richo came in and replaced him.
Yeah.
Was it not? So, it was probably a fair replacement, the reigning champion to come in and replace him.
And it's not like he was shunted to just terriblenessville because he went to HRT to drive with Garth Tander. I mean, that's not exactly a booby prize.
Correct. Next question. Running on 7 cylinders reminds me of me. That's
after Winton on the weekend.
After Winton on the weekend, camping in -2 degrees. Yay! Hi team, love the pod. Correct.
Yep.
When it gets close to Bathurst, are you going to cover the Team Kiwi Racing 25th anniversary of Jason Richards' debut with the team there?
We'll cover the anniversary. I think the plan is that they're bringing the car. That car's been restored. The Team Kiwi Perkins built Commodore, and I've seen on socials that it sounds like David John is putting together an event in Bathurst for Event Week. I would strongly suggest, though, if you've got a Thursday night free at Bathurst during race week, come to see us. V8 Sleuth Open Night, Bathurst National Motor Racing Museum. Lock it in guest as we speak. You'll love it. tickets will be on sale very soon. I believe they're running some form of event at Panthers. I'm not sure which of the nights it's on, but certainly that is the start. Well, it's not Jason Richards' Bathurst 1000 starting period. He drove in the Super Touring race in 97 and 98 in one of the New Zealand class BMs, but it was an important little chapter in the history of the sport, particularly from the Kiwi side of the fence. He was a big part of that in the early years, and the brand lives on despite it not being a real team for a long, long time, which is half an achievement in itself, I reckon.
On open nights, we had an open night up at Winton on the weekend. That was great, Noons.
I really loved that. It was first time for the Winton Festival of Speed to do something like that. Hats off to everyone at the VHRR who ran that event and was involved in that broader event, bolted that together. I had people saying, how'd you get Norm Beachy to do it? It wasn't me. It was them. We put our brand on it. We put the chat together. We promoted it. So it was a great cohesive fusion of everybody's involvement. But great stories. And we're going to bring some of those select stories to listeners on Pod Plus in upcoming weeks and months. So if you don't subscribe, if you're not a member already, if you become a member, it doesn't cost you heaps every month. You get rid of the ads off our podcast, which I know some people want to quickly get through the pod. And you also get a chance to listen to some bonus extra content, and that will be some of that. But Norm Beachy was on fire, and he's 93.
Still got it.
Dead set. Still absolutely sharp as a tack.
I love the story about his road car.
Oh, yes.
Save that for Pod Plus. No, Pod Plus.
I'll save it for Pod Plus. All right. Ron Harrop was in great form. Told us about that big crash he had at Bathurst in 79 with the A9X when it went over the fence at turn 2. Russell Stuckey, like legend of Dunlop tyres, with some of his insights, and he actually named his number one test driver. Remember what he said?
Yeah.
John Bowe.
And that was the era that it was all about testing,
lots
wasn't
of testing.
It? So that was really cool. Jeff Gretsch was out there. Dennis O'Brien too had some yarns.
He's got plenty of yarns, as Dennis. He was in very good form. Very good form. Enjoyed it. Do you want me to ask the next one?
Yes.
Justin Alden says he thinks the winner of the Supercars Championship still technically considered as the winner of the Australian Touring Car Championship, but he wants to know, is there still a trophy of some sort awarded for the ATCC that's separate to the Supercars Championship trophy? Yes, there is. Yep. Gets awarded at the Motorsport Australia Awards, which usually at the start of the next calendar year. But yeah, the winner of the Supercars Championship under the sanctioning with Motorsport Australia is deemed the Australian Touring Car Champ in a history that goes back to 1960. So, yep, they get the ATCC trophy, and they get the one obviously you see on the day on the podium, the Supercars Champions Trophy that's been, I think that's been awarded now for the best part of nearly 15 years from memory. We did get this question somewhere about that trophy, the Champions Trophy with the curved edges out to the side.
I've picked up that trophy. I was handed that trophy. I got awarded.
Oh, I've seen a photo of you with that trophy.
When Brody won, he did his skid around the plinth, and I was there taking photos off it over the pit wall, and someone's just hurled the trophy at me and go, there you go, get that off the track. And then it's me standing
Didn't realise that you didn't work for Erebus.
Sure, I'll take it. Thank you.
What's next?
Shane Sawyer, if James Warburton can get an Asia-Pacific Supercar Championship up and running, should those teams be able to run at Bathurst? And should the series also go to New Zealand as well to build it?
No to the latter. The main game Supercars is what will go to New Zealand. If this Asian-Pacific Supercars regional series gets up and running, I would have thought that part of the incentive for people to do it over there would be that maybe the champion, or they get a wild card, or it'd be through the wild card system, I would presume. But I don't mind that as an idea, because at the end of the day, if you're going to have the IP of a series in the region somewhere, you may as well put something up for grabs to, make people chase after it if they're going to commit to it. So don't mind it. Sebastian DeSalvo, not bad question this. I like this. He says Brock Feeney's got 16 wins in his current Gen 3 Camaro that he's driven last year and this year. So he only needs 4 more to get to 20 wins. So good maths from Sebastian. He's on it there. I like that. What's the most successful Project Blueprint and Gen 2 era car after 3 seasons as a rule set? So we've ended up picking what the cars were that won the most in those eras over 3 years. So it's sort of apples and oranges, but So just for context, Feeney's got 16 wins as we speak, pre-Ipswich, from 46 races. Now, he drove a different chassis in 23, so we're only counting last year and this year. So he's at 35% in that current car for his win rate, 16 of 46, and he can't keep it rolling next year because they're going to Ford. So he's 2 years in and that's it. He can't keep winning in that car. So how does it compare, I guess, to Ambrose's Pertec Falcon, which was the gun car of the first few years of Blueprint, and SVG's Red Bull Commodore that, now we're taking this from when it raced, being 2021-22. How does Brock, I think Brock fares pretty favourably with how he's going here.
He's right in there. So Ambrose with the BA, 25 wins over the 3 years he had that car. And that was the only BA he ever drove, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he had 9 in 2003, 11 in 2004, 5 in 2005. 32%. Not bad when Brock's currently running at 35%.
Yeah.
Then you got SVG, Chassis 054 from Triple Eight. He had copped this 39 wins.
Record.
In 2020, 2021 and 22. Wow, 4 wins in 2020, 14 and 21, and 21 and 22. There's a lot of twos there.
There's
2 for 22.
2 was a racehorse, 2, yes.
92 starts, 39 wins, 42%. Thank you for coming.
That's pretty solid from that car debuted at the start of 2020. So that goes to show, though, that Feeney's punching out some pretty impressive numbers for how many races are on the line. Clint Tice is next. Is there a reason why drivers and or teams don't get fined for holding up another driver in the pit lane during qualifying? I know it's not in the rule book, but why isn't it in the rule book? He says, given the sport's all about tenths of a second, it would seem the valuable couple of seconds being held up in the pit lane could cost a driver that extra chance to enhance their qualifying position. It's a good point. When you do it in a race, bad. When you do it in quali,
it's
hard
tough
to police.
It's tough, isn't it? That is sort of getting into grey areas, isn't it? I remember talking to a team owner who was stuck down the other end of the pit lane, and they described it as being down the dumb end of the pits. And you've got to eat your shit sandwiches all year long, don't you? Because you used to be stuck there, but now at least with the fluid pit lane ordering between each race meetings, you've got an opportunity. If you're performing well, you can move up the pit order. Then you can get the advantage of going out when you need to go out in qualifying. If you're stuck down the other end, you're stuck there. You can't do anything about it.
Well, and you're stuck from this point onwards anyway. There's a bit of movement in the first few rounds, but the top 2 or 3 spots are pretty locked week in, week out in teams' champ points. And what a big... this is why I never made a big deal about the pit order round to round. No one talks about it. No one really... In the grand scheme, okay, for these situations, you'd rather be at pit exit to get on the track first and get yourself some extra time. Okay, there is a value in it from a sporting perspective, but from a punters talking about it perspective, I don't look towards it. It's not something that really floats my boat. But getting back to Clinton's point, though, I think he's right. Like, these teams, like, if you release a car from a pit stop into the fast lane of someone, make contact, force them to slow, penalty. Qualifying, they know how long it takes to push a car backwards out into the lane, and they all do the sit around and look at one another, and then righto, we're all going together. And yeah, guys will get screwed because the guy in front is a bit slow to get going. And I understand it because it is, from a sporting perspective, can be unfair because that might be 8 seconds that you needed to get back to the line to do another lap. So, or do you say, well, that's just because you're at the end of the pit lane and that's, as you said, the literal poo sandwich that you have to consume?
Well, they all know the deal. You could go well early, then you're going to get balked. Or you could go real early and have the track all to yourself, but you're not getting the best of the track conditions.
Yeah.
And they know that. That's a part of the deal of when you're stuck down the bad end of the pit lane. There's nothing you can really do about it. You just have to wear it. And that's why these good performing teams, they get rewarded because quite often by being at the start of the pit exit end of the lane, you'll get a second lap in when you won't if you're up the back.
Yeah, or a third instead of a second or whatever it might be. So makes sense. Who you got next?
We're running down here. Jordan Trelaw.
Friend of the podcast.
Absolutely. What are your favourite coincidences in ATCC/Supercars /Bathurst history? For example, Lowndes winning his 100th race in the 888th championship race in history.
He's picked the one that I would have said.
That's a good one, isn't it?
in car Triple Eight in the 888th championship race to win his 100. And can I tell you the backstory?
Please.
So that's 2015 in Darwin. That is the first year of the Channel 10 / Fox Sports, or Fox Sports / Channel 10 deal. That's the first Darwin I don't think I'd gone to for quite some time. So I was doing, and still do, the stats for the broadcast and for the commentators and pit lane reporters. It only occurred to me halfway during that race. Because it was all about the 100. Is Land's going to win 100? And how many teams has he driven for? And how many races has it taken him to do it? And how many tracks has he won at? And, all the possibilities and permutations. And halfway through, I looked at my spreadsheet and went, oh, race number 888. So there was a very quick text message dispatched to Greg Rust, who was calling, Rusty, cop this, get this in here, 888 to win the 888th race in history to get his 100th. I've probably got the text message somewhere, but I think it was a mate. That is awesome. And he rolled it out beautifully. And we managed to capture that piece on video, beautifully done, right in the moment with the right numbers, and ta-da. It would be shit house if you did, 8 minutes later after the podium, whatever. Oh, and by the way, it was the 8, and everyone, come on, you could have got that out of it. Anyway, that one's hard to top.
I remember doing data logging at Bathurst once with one of the old... I used to do data logging for production cars and V8 Utes back in the day.
You are a racer's racer.
Oh, I don't know about any of that. No, I was the PR person who turned up with a computer one day.
And they went, plug it into the car.
Here's a CD-ROM, fella. You're learning data logging right now.
This is called DOS.
You get around it. Anyway, I was doing it was based on GPS. And it came up that the top of the mountain was exactly 888 metres above sea level. And I thought, what a stat.
No wonder they win there so much.
Turns out it's 862 and the data log was wrong.
Great story, you just stuffed it up.
Yeah.
This is sort of not a coincidence, but it's been a building thing for the last couple of years. The whole 8th is yet to win the Bathurst 1000 thing is still a thing. So... let's see if it remains a thing after this year's race.
Tyson Arden, first wrap supercar, last painted cars. When did teams change from paint to wraps?
Look, I'm sure that someone will prove me wrong here, but my memory is that when Wayne Gardner ran his Coke Donut King Commodore in 98, so he'd closed his team, kept a car to run just for select race events. Paul Stokell co-drove. Remember, it was like for the Enduros, it was like a bubble, literally bubbles on the livery of red and white Coke, and that was a wrap. And that's one of the first wraps I can ever remember anyone running in V8 supercars.
So there's different things going on here. There's painted cars with vinyl stickers on it, which is still something that happens these days. There's fully wrapped cars that have the full stretched out vinyl sticker over the
whole thing and all the panels.
Remember the Gatorade card too? That was
the other one I was going to suggest. That came the start of next year, 99.
Last painted car. I'm thinking maybe, was it one of those Bottle-O throwbacks was hand painted?
Yeah,
was it 2012?
2012 it was. They went to the nth degree for that car in that celebration race that they nearly won the race. But yes, you're right. I remember, were there a couple of bits that were... I can't remember, but that's as close as to a painted car in the last 15 years as you'll probably find.
I mean, they've been doing vinyl stickers since the 80s sort of thing, late 80s, I'd say. And it's an interesting craft these days because a lot of it, because they've got these composite panels that just pop out, after a race, you see the sticker guys down there, instead of fixing the car, they just jam a sticker over the top of it and race on for the weekend. It's a very easy way to keep the cars nice and presentable these days.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they do it, is with the turnaround times, with the requirements from sponsors, the ability to, if you're a team with not a locked-in livery for the year or one sponsor, like think about Brad Jones's team with Bryce Fullwood's car, like they're swapping liveries. If it's not every round, it's every second round and whatever. You couldn't do that, under the old methodology. But when you wrap stuff, it works okay.
Remember when Triple Eight launched their Mustang at the start of the year?
Yeah.
It was just a BRT car with a wrap over the top of it, which is something you can do. And something that they do in NASCARs. They'll often have a wrap over a wrap. So you could whip one wrap off and you got the next race underneath
your next one ready to run. Dan Gordon says, why is there never any talk in the media about parity in Super 2 or Super 3? I can name for you the last bit because there isn't a Super 3 anymore. Is there not enough fan interest? Does it not get clicks like it does in the main game? Or is there nothing in it? For the current top 4 Tickford cars to be 70-plus points clear of 5th and the next 8 cars to all be within 100 points feels a bit off. Is it just a lucky case of Tickford picking the 4 most talented non-supercars drivers in the country, or is there something else to it?
Obviously, Tickford have it going on at the moment in that Super 2 class. They're absolutely smoking it. They've struck a setup. They've got competent drivers there very clearly. Parity-wise, I don't know. I think the cars were pretty parrotised when they lobbed into Super 2. I don't think you can really pick much there, but it's...
The difference is that there are wider differences in the Dunlop Series between teams, budgets, drivers' experience, whereas in the main championship, it's a much closer run thing. So I don't feel that there's a parity problem in Super 2 at all. Haven't heard anyone put their hand up, haven't heard a driver grumble about it, haven't seen Conor O'Brien write a story on our website or talk to Conor and he's heard anything. Tickford are doing a damn good job because they've put a major investment into Super 2 because they identify it for their business. It's good for their business because guys bring budgets to drive their cars, and I'm sure the way they're going this year that one or two guys, Ryland Gray might find an opportunity somewhere and he's not back there next year. So someone else will buy that seat for sure. They'll have a line a mile long of people who want to drive those cars. And good luck to them because they've gone and invested in the series. And I can't see that there's a parity thing like Eggleston's have just been off their form. Zach Bates has struggled most rounds, but they've, Cine won at round 1. So no one else has done a consistently solid job. That's kind of what I don't think there's... You don't read about it because I don't think it's an issue and I don't think anyone's kind of talking like it is.
And I think the Tickford guys are taking advantage of the whole Mark Winterbottom mentorship
big part
they've got going on there.
Yeah, yep.
As well. But who's the question without notice? Who's the standout? Who's the next big thing that we're seeing in the Super 2 at the moment? Is it Ryland Gray?
Gray. Yeah, no disrespect to any of the other young guys who are doing a good job there, but who's got the blend? Look at what he's doing in GT4. Look at what he's doing in Super 2. It looks like he's the next... who? If I was a Supercars team owner and I'm looking for my next big thing or my next big chance, doesn't mean he will, but he looks like he's got the bits. It doesn't mean he gets there. Doesn't mean that the dish cooks properly, but I would be looking to go baking with him.
It's funny, the last few years...
Do you like that food reference, by the way?
You did well, congrats. Thanks for doing this after lunch as well, mate.
Yeah, good. That's a good point.
You look at the ranks from the last few years. Kai Allen, Matt Payne, Ryan Wood, they've been tabbed as the next big thing, rungs below that them getting into the Supercars.
And when you've been around it often enough, you can kind of see. And teams who know what they're looking at, who get to see data, who get to talk to them, who not profile them, but learn about the person inside the helmet as well. That's a big part of it. But I think when you've been around a long time, you just sort of see and smell. You sort of can see when something's good. Doesn't mean it's all good and it's all perfect. Like Ryland Gray's got work to do. He's got edges to rough it, to smooth. But organic, workload so far, results so far, when you compare all the elements, he's looking pretty good.
And he's 19 years old.
Well, that's the other thing. I tell you what, there's a few other guys in that list of... But everyone's really up and down in Dunlop this year. Tickford are kind of the only guys who've been pretty level, but...
And they're not standing out, though.
From each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of all in a huddle, like this big pack. But things go a different way, and Cody Bircher from Orange, he should have been on pole both days in Sydney, but he got a track limits thing in the very first race of the year. So it could have been him who was the pop-up winner for Eggleston in Sydney. And you look at what he's doing. He's doing GT4 as well as Ryland, doing it with Timmy Lane at BMW. There's some good young guys in there that you'd have to look at for the future. They need more time, but yeah, it's a great question without notice you've prompted here.
And when you mentioned before data, these teams do have all the data. They know, they do full analysis on their own drivers, on the field, on the co-drivers, on the Super2 stuff.
Yep.
They're aware of the capabilities and the consistencies and where everyone's at.
Totally. Yep, everyone's got a clue as to what's everyone else got going on. Hey, let's keep the Dunlop theme going of Dunlop series. Mick Jeffrey asks, after inserting a shootout in Super 2 at Simmons, would the next, which was a top 5, by the way, which I kind of like, would the next step for that series be reviving the mini enduro at Bathurst with the 250-kilometre race, the CPS and the optional driver change? Well, I don't think we can, and I'll tell you why. Because now you can't marry up a Super 2 team with the main game team. All the gear's different. The Gen 3 cars and the Gen 2 cars. Whereas back in those days, you could, the wheel nuts, they're all different. The rattle guns, they're different. The way cars are refueled, all the bits are different. So I like the theory. I would be totally up for that from a theory of a feature race at Bathurst on the Saturday, because I loved that race. I thought that was their time to shine. Nice build-up to the shootout. But I can't see it happening. But I'm up for the shootout, the top 5 shootout for Super 2, just to make it unique to the series. This has always been the series that's supposed to develop the young guns. Part of the art form of being a supercars driver is doing shootouts well. So can we find it in the schedule somewhere? And Bathurst is a good one. Give them a top 5 shootout. Feature them on the TV for 2 and a bit minutes a lap and let them have their shootout. Why not?
I mean, a top 5 shootout's a 15-minute window in a program. It's not hard to do.
No.
And just from an experience point of view, like everything you said there's correct. But, I think the 250K race, Bathurst, expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. And now that the correlation's not there, you might go, but Tickford have got cars in both. Yes, but the gear doesn't connect like it used to, where the cars were more similar in terms of bits and pieces.
The 40-minute races last year were good.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, they're still long enough to get a little bit of strategy and people rising and falling in the field. That's absolutely possible.
Trent Urza, boys, excellent as always. Why, thank you.
He hasn't listened yet.
He knew. Something different. Ash's predictions, in for a cracker of a summer.
True. I didn't get to watch any of it, but catching up on the India-England series, the way it finished, the drama, Noakes coming out with his arm in a sling under his jumper to just run and try to get him there. It had, was it Graham Smith for South Africa came out at the SCG all those years ago with a broken hand or arm or forearm or whatever to bat last to try to save the match. They lost, Australia won. Test match cricket, what theatre? How good's that? I've got a feeling. I don't know how many test matches there are this summer. 4, 5?
5 for an Ashes.
5, you would have thought.
Yeah.
Jeez, Australia 2-1.
Okay.
I don't think we kill him. I don't think we murder him. I don't think we win it easy. It's a transition time for Aussie Test match cricket. How long could Nathan Lyon go for? Yeah, there's a few guys where you're like, whoa, they're starting to get on. This might be their big farewell summer for some of them. What do you think?
Sure. I just don't have the. What's the?
I'm just guessing.
What's the Ashes policy in the office here? Because rest of my working life, I've had to work during Test match cricket.
Oh, as in, can you go?
No, I don't want to go. But
will we have it on the telly?
Background.
Oh, Rogers is a fiend for cricket downstairs. So I really only generally watch Australian cricket games.
Yeah.
You know when you flick around Fox Sports or whatever you're watching and you see, I don't know, Sri Lanka versus Zimbabwe. I like cricket, but I've got other things to do if Australia's not playing. Shane downstairs here, mate, he will... No, actually, I could take it another level. He is one of the 12 people who go to Sheffield Shield games.
He's it.
Sometimes his wife Dorothy too. Let's dob her in as well.
13th
And let's dob in someone else here. Young Thomas Miles from Auto Action is a cricket tragic, young Thomas, who's made his mark in the last summer because he does the old... And I want to talk about this. He does the old school scoring of cricket in the little scoring pad and the little wagon wheel of, where they show it on TV where they've hit the ball on the ground, it's gone for 4 there and it's gone for 2 there. And he does the wagon wheel on paper with pen, sits up late at night watching cricket. we saw him at the Bathurst 12 out this year, and he was off to Sri Lanka to go to the test match over there. And some of the big wig cricket journos met him and have sort of befriended him and gone, you should put that on a T-shirt. So Glenn Maxwell hit like the double ton in, was it the World Cup? The one where he cramped?
Yeah.
So he's put the big wagon wheel of the 200 on a T-shirt, and I think Maxie's seen it, which is
awesome.
So cool, so cool. Yeah, I thought I liked cricket, but Thomas takes it to another level, so well played.
That's cool. Lewis Penfold, fellas, quick question for the Stock Car Sleuth.
Okay.
Do you have any chassis information for Marcus Ambrose's seasons and SVG's Xfinity and current Cup season?
I don't. I did, though, reach out via Justine to Trackhouse after Shane won Chicago and asked what was the history of that car, which I think we wrote a little story about back in the day. But no, I don't specifically have any history of any of Marcus's cars. I mean, there's obviously a few in the country. The nationwide, was it STP car? And then there's the Stanley Tools car that popped up earlier this year and late last year. So, but in terms of tracking those cars, no, I haven't.
I mean, the problem is these days with the next gen rule set over there, they've got 7 centre body pieces that they can use for any one driver during a season, which is limited. Like they used to have as many as you like.
So is that 7 bodies?
Not necessarily. It's like the centre chassis section because they've got front and rear clips again there now, like we sort of do with supercars. So they're limited to those 7 body piece in the middle, which can run anywhere. They're the same stock piece.
Put on whatever you want to put on it. Yeah. Not like the old days where you'd have X number of super speedway cars, X number of road course cars, X number of short oval cars, X number of test cars, X number of... And that's just for one driver in the team, let alone the 2 or 3 other blokes in the operation. He actually does ask a follow-up bit, though, does Lewis. So I might throw this at you.
Please.
He said, why don't supercars allow a backup car as they commonly do in NASCAR? I.e., it would have allowed Jackson Evans to race in Darwin in those 2 races that he missed after the crash. He says, assuming it's cost-based, shouldn't we be doing everything to maximise what's already a somewhat sparse field, perhaps a limit of 1 backup per 2-car team? He's kind of answered the question in the question there. It's cost. It's purely cost. It's really expensive to have prepped and readied a car to be ready to maybe use. Like the labour that goes into these cars, we're not NASCAR. That's a big world, a lot of people, huge population, huge numbers. Yep, sad to see a car on the sidelines. You'd absolutely love to see, like Jackson's situation in Darwin, but it's just not feasible. It's not feasible.
I mean, in a utopian world where everyone's got chassis to burn, logistically you could probably make it work with one every 2-car team, because the trailers typically you can fit 3 cars in them. Like
but you've got to have it readied,
exactly.
Racetrack prepped, which very different to take. You can't build up a spare chassis overnight. It's just cost. The teams are struggling, and Simon Brookhouse said it sitting in this very chair not long ago on the pod. The teams are struggling for people as it is, so to fill the roles that they need, let alone, if you could somehow find all this extra cash to pay for all this other stuff to be done. So, yeah, it's a nice thought, but luckily it's a pretty rare scenario that someone's car is so badly damaged that they're wiped out for the rest of that day, round, race, whatever it is.
That's the thing over there. If they just have a little bump in qualifying, that's it. Wheel out the back out, because you're starting at the back anyway. Might as well bring the fresh car out, and it doesn't make a difference.
Correct. Kevin McAuliffe, why do we think 2-litre Super Touring didn't get traction in Australia? Obviously, the 5-litre formula, which ultimately became supercars, was more in line with Aussie culture. But arguably, there was a lot more technology in the Super Touring cars. Did the technology advancements not appeal to Australian audiences at the time?
I loved Super Touring.
I think it's one of those classic things that it had a following at the time, and if there was no local touring car formula, it would have been more successful. Same could be said of TCR. But it was never going to get the traction, no matter whether it was four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or rear-wheel drive, against V8 supercars, Australian touring cars, which is entrenched and ingrained here. The technological advancements appeal to some, but there's plenty of people who go stay on the top of the hill at Bathurst who didn't give a crap that those things were rocket ships, was so expensive, which was their downfall ultimately.
Well, you chat with Alan Gow, so expensive.
Millions of pounds, off the charts.
And to run those cars locally as independents, largely in a lot of cases, it's a hard thing to do.
Well, the minute that Volvo went from the British Championship, bang, the Australian program was pretty much, the cards were marked, because there's no support there. There's no supply of cars, of technology, of, backup assistance when you needed it, because you would need it. So it was always going to get to that point where it was going to be in a bit of trouble. But nothing, whether it's 2 litres, whether it's Nations Cup, whether it's TCR, whether it's whatever you can dream up, supercars, V8 supercars, Australian touring cars, they're top of the hill. And when you're on top of the hill, unless you step down or you have the hill, you self-blow it up, the hill's not falling and no one's going to come charging up it and knock you off the top of it. I think history would prove that. But we love super touring. We love those cars. There's a lot of history around it that needs to be told. So if you go for a little bit of a Google or jump on Facebook, go and type in Super Touring Sleuth and follow and like the page, please.
First like.
Yeah, you were. I was second. Jeez, how did that happen?
Yes.
No good.
Leanne and Andre Fuller, are there any plans to do a book like the going global book for the Bathurst 12-hour, but on the cars and races, the production car era of the 12-hour races?
Has been discussed a few times around the office. By the way, Andre has a piece of production car history. He is the man with the pink Holden Astra, the diesel-powered Astra that ran at the 12-hour back in the day. He should bring that to Winton Festival of Speed next year and run it in the super sprints with the Commodore wagon, the Laser TX3.
We could have the Winton 12-minute.
Yeah. That's not a reflection of the cars. That's just the window of track time that they have at the moment. Oh, we didn't mention this, just quickly. Brett Yulden, who drove that 12-hour Laser in 91 to finish runner-up at the 12-hour, was at the track Sunday, and Rebecca Drummond and her partner David Hulk, who had that car, said, "You better get in it." And so he got in and had a steer on Sunday afternoon, which was a really cool moment, because whenever you can put a driver back with their car, that's very cool.
But back to the production car era of the 12-hour, great memories there. There were some cool races. One of my favourite ever bits of commentary, bugging me sideways as a tree on the track.
Who said the bugging me sideways
I don't know, Aaron Noonan.
Me?
Yep.
Did I say that?
Oh, you sure did.
On TV or on the live stream?
It might have been on the live stream.
Oh, yeah, it would not have been on the post-produced commentary. No way.
Oh, well...
Did I say it on the stream? Where have you heard that?
I was there in the pits.
You must provide proof. Where's your proof?
I'd have to go back 15 years. It happened.
I probably did say that.
The next
because I knew it was on the stream, or just for the track PA or whatever it was.
The next day, I was there with the Wilson Brothers Subaru. We did a cold lap of the track in the Vito van, and we stopped at Forest Elbow to go and inspect the remnants of the trees. There was a massive hole. I stood in the hole, and it sort of came up to chest height. And we've got a bit of the bark and a few of the leaves at home somewhere. Yeah, memories.
Should have dropped a bit at the museum for their collection to go next to the Dick Tree. We didn't answer the question. It's been discussed about doing a book like that as kind of the prequel book to Going Global. So it would give you the 4 Easter races, 91 to 94. You'd do the Eastern Creek 12-hour from 95 as part of it. Then when was it revived? 07, 8, 9, 10. So there's 9 races there. It's doable. It's logical because the Going Global book started in 2011 when GT3 started. So, yeah, it's not the craziest book idea I've ever heard, and I could see people getting on board with it. If you're on board with it, send us an email, send us a note. Love to hear from you and send you a pre-order invoice if you'd like. But never say never. I don't mind the idea, by the way, because I think we've got probably all the photos we need to be able to fill all the gaps, so we've got a shot of every car.
Gav Walls, this may have been asked before, but is there any plan to do a Gary Rogers Motorsport book?
Has been discussed over the journey, but no, there's no plans at the moment or any time soon to do one. But when you think about it, they built a lot of cool supercars. The Volvos, remember the Monaro Nations Cup cars, Bathurst winning Valvoline cars, Wing Cup, McConville, Tander, Holdsworth, Caruso, bunch of different liveries. Yeah, look, there's a lot of interesting things there, but is it strong enough to make a book that we're not going to lose on? I don't know. It would need some commercial support, like a lot of these things, but it'd be a cool book to do. I think people would like the book. I'd like to do the book, but Gav, if you can go rattle the tin for us to raise a bit of budget, that'd be lovely.
Happy birthday, Gary Rogers, the other week, 80 years young.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, well played.
The last one I've got here, Tash and Rod Cooper. Are there going to be any more Sevens Sport magic moments of motorsport? I hope so. More Amaru, please, in bold caps. Please,
I was going to say,
it's so good.
There's a reason why you said it like that, because it's written in caps.
I have to read the auto cue.
Yeah, true. Who put the question mark at the end of the teleprompter? Is there going to be more? I hope so, but unlikely, simply because there's no more retailers for these DVDs. They're not in the JB Hi-Fis and the Sanities and they just don't stock anywhere that stocks DVDs anymore. It's in very small amounts and not the niche stuff. I still feel that there's an audience there there's still stuff to release. Like, we haven't released it all. There's more there. So maybe there's a way we can do it, but it's not at the top of our priority list. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but never say never. There is a lot more archive Amaru stuff that we have saved over the journey that would be pretty cool to let the fans be able to see. But yeah, the world's changed a lot since we started doing those DVDs, 13 years ago. So never say never, but don't hold your breath.
But if you do like watching video things, Noons, where could you find them?
Oh, well played, Mark. I'm glad you asked. If you go to superstore.v8sleuth.com.au, you'll find all sorts of great stuff. Plenty of DVDs, model cars, books,
and
all sorts.
Also, the new video section at v8sleuth.com.au.
Oh, yeah, on our website too. Yeah, there's plenty of videos popping up there. We've got a range of great stuff from the trackside library. So there's open wheelers, some proddy cars, some sports cars, a bit of everything. Some of the stuff we've shot. You shot a lot of stuff at the Winton Festival. It's going to pop up. So if you go to our homepage, V8 Sleuth, click on videos. I think it says new next to it as well. Have a bit of a roll through there. There's a bit of interesting stuff on there to keep you busy.
Actually, circling back to the store, our merch.
Oh, merch.
I'm here to tell you, it was -2 degrees at Winton there on the weekend. I was wearing a T-shirt.
Of a night time, not during the day.
Oh, no, it got cool just after the sunrise, so I can guarantee you that. And Sleuth hoodie. Absolutely came through.
Yep. T-shirt underneath.
T-shirt underneath.
Cap on top.
Cap on top.
There you go. Problem solved.
And
Get on board.
On ball. Like.
Sleuth beanie for next winter.
Oh, please. That'd be great.
Yeah. We've had great response. It's been a bit of a soft launch with our merch. If you want to buy a hoodie, a T-shirt, a cap, it's a very limited range just to start to get us off and rolling. The link's in the show notes for this episode, by the way, if you want to find your way to our store to have a bit of a perusal and pick out a size. We'll bang it in the mail to you, and you can wear your gear at the racetrack, at the pub, at home, wherever you like. Get among it.
Stay warm and fashionable at the same time.
And it's even got little finger holes, for your thumbs, like in winter.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do love that,
Yeah, I thought that was good. Hey, well played. Lots of good questions again this week. We couldn't get to them all, so apologies to those who've sent some through. If you've got any more questions, feel free to send them whenever we don't call for them, because we just stock them away and store them up, and we'll get to them eventually. A lot of them are evergreen types of questions about history and stuff like that. But if you've got a guest you'd like to suggest, or even there's a topic that you'd like us to have a bit of a chat about, get in touch via the socials or the contact form on our website. I slowed that down for no real reason.
Fair cop. Well, you're getting to the end. You're out of words.
Thanks for tuning in. Are you good?
I'm great.
I enjoyed that. We're back on Sunday night with our Pack Up podcast to take a look at all of the things that happened at Queensland Raceway in Supercars. Scott Pye makes his TV debut. I have a feeling that we're going to talk about that on Sunday evening. And
we'll find out if they do indeed have a giant stapler to give away as a trophy.
Gets it a paperclip. I like it. Here's a ream of reflex paper for you. Congratulations. What a win.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Not sponsored by Officeworks, this podcast. This is the V8 Sleuth Podcast for the National Motor Racing Museum at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Catch you next time.